Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Thursday, May 7th, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr., and joining me is Tim fucking GIBiz.
Let Tim host. How you doing, Bless?
Tim, I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Feeling good today.
Today's the start of the next generation, or at least the start of the beginning of the next generation.
Started the reveals, which is later than normal. I mean, like, think about this, right? It's May 7th. We're expecting these consoles in November, and it's like, this is now the start. It's kind of exciting when you think about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's very unconventional, right? Because like we got technically the reveal started last year with the PlayStation Wire articles and the Game Awards box reveal of the Xbox Series X, but now we're getting actual game streams, which is really exciting. We'll talk a lot about that. But yeah, aside from that, before we get into that, Tim, one, I want to commend you on the color layout you got going on. You got the Xbox screen.
There we go.
Thought I would notice. I definitely noticed off the bat. And then you got the Peep chilling in the background, which I'm not sure. I'm still out of the loop on the Peep thing, because I think that was that's definitely like a show that I'm not on, where that was like a meme. That might have been
kind of funny podcast. Yeah, definitely. There's not much of a story. Greg and Jen bought some Peeps for their house, and then Nick thought it'd be funny to buy all of us Peeps. That's the extent of it. That's Nick's.
Okay. Because I'm always like, do I acknowledge the Peep? No. Is this like a thing where I have to pretend that the Peep's not there?
Blessing, I'm going to be extremely clear with you right now. You do not acknowledge the Peep until it acknowledges you. Okay?
Fair. I will not make a Peep about the Peep. Tim, today's stories include a look at Nintendo Switch sales, an inside Xbox roundup, and more, because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when you get stuff wrong by going to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kind of Funny Games Daily. I'm still scared of the pound, because again, Kevin built this desk. He made it a purposeful thing to tell me that he didn't include all the screws, and so every time I bang, I'm like, this could be the last one. This could be the last bang before it all falls apart. Isn't that right, Kevin?
I didn't make it a purposeful thing to tell you I didn't include the screws. I realized, I was like, oh shit, I didn't bring enough screws. And you were like, what do we do? What do we do? Look at your hands. Legit, look at my hands.
His Blessing impression's so good.
And also, like, his arm was like twitching out of control.
That's how your arms are. It's crazy. That's how accurate it is.
Is that how it's like when I'm dancing? But yeah, like I add things to this. Like my PS4 is here now. I have a monitor that's here now.
Just stand on it.
Added.
What are you
and if everything falls, do you know the value of everything on this desk right now? At least $500.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like much, but to me, that's a whole lot of money there
you go.
I can't just replace a PS4. If I hit up Greg, he might actually be able to replace it for me. But still, to be a part of the show, head to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where bronze members or above get to write in, and silver members or above get the show ad-free with the exclusive daily post show. Now it's time for some housekeeping. The core stream.
Before you get into the core stream stuff, I want to say that right now you can watch our live reactions to the Inside Xbox show.
Yeah.
Over on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. It's all up there. Me, you, Greg, Andy, Snowbike Mike make an appearance on his birthday. Go check that stuff out whenever you want. But later today.
Oh yeah, later today we're doing a core stream. Again, Core, I've talked about this all week, but Core is the game where you whip up your own multiplayer video games, publish them, and play them with the world. That's happening today at 3 p.m. Pacific time. You can join Greg, Andy, and the developers of Core as they create games and test them out with you. That's right. Go download the Core Alpha right now at coregames.com and play whatever they create live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and follow at Core Games on Twitter for updates. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Muhammad, Blackjack, and Al Tribesman. Today, we're brought to you by Manscaped, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 4 stories today.
Bigger says.
Starting with our number one, the Nintendo Switch has surpassed 55 million in unit sales. I'm pulling this from Matthew Handrahan at gamesindustry.biz, who writes, the Nintendo Switch has passed 55 million units sold in the fiscal year ended March 31st, 2020, boosted by the strong performance of Animal Crossing and Pokemon. Nintendo earned $12.2 billion in the financial year, up 9% over an already strong fiscal 2019. The Japanese company made a profit of $2.4 billion, up 33% year on year. It was a good year for first-party software, with Pokemon Sword and Shield reaching 17.37 million units by the end of March, and Animal Crossing New Horizons selling 11.77 million units, despite launching just 11 days before the end of the accounting period, which is wild. Let me say that again, right? Animal Crossing New Horizons sold 11.77 million units, despite launching just 11 days before the end of the accounting period.
Holy
wild
shit.
Animal Crossing New Horizons' strong performance continued, with the game reaching 13.4 million units in the 6 weeks following its launch. Luigi's Mansion 3 and Super Mario Maker 2 also performed well, and Nintendo said that 27 Switch games sold 1 million units during the fiscal year. Overall, 169 million units of software were sold on the Switch during fiscal year 2020, up 42% year on year. Nintendo said that of the revenue earned through software, 34% came from digital sales, a significant increase on the 24.8% share in the prior year. Hardware sales were also strong despite widespread supply problems, with more than 21 million units of the Switch sold, an increase of 24% over the previous fiscal year. Within that total, 6.2 million units were sales of the Switch Lite. The Nintendo Switch has now sold 55.8 million units in total, with 356 million software sales. Nintendo's mobile business remained a relatively minor concern, despite the high-profile launch of Mario Kart Tour. The division earned $481 million, up 11.5% over the last year. Tim, there's a lot of numbers there.
Dude, there is, man. They're all great numbers. We saw that Super Mario Party has crossed the 10 million mark, which is extremely impressive for that game. Even though I didn't love that game that much, and I feel like it definitely was not supported to the extent that it should be. I think that it's really exciting to see some of Nintendo's smaller titles in their library of IP kind of hidden these giant numbers. Other things to look at that you didn't mention here, but Fire Emblem Three Houses selling extremely well on its way to be the highest selling Fire Emblem title of all time. Currently, it's number 2 behind the Fates, but that technically was 3 different games. So there was a lot more people buying 2 versions and blah, 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 adding it up. But by the end of this year, for sure, Three Houses will be the highest selling one. So that's pretty crazy. But other very impressive numbers here, obviously, Animal Crossing being insane, going from that 11.7 million in just 11 days all the way up to now 13.4 million. That game's going to keep on going, and I wouldn't be surprised if it starts getting up to the number 1 Switch title numbers, which is really insane. Other things to keep in mind here: Smash Brothers Ultimate. These numbers are showing that over 1 million copies were sold just in the first quarter of 2020. Like, that's the power of Nintendo IP just coming back and consistently selling over time. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, super crazy stuff. Of course, Animal Crossing getting to 13.41 million bumps that up over Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee already. Right, and Pokemon Sword and Shield is at 17.37 million, right, as of March 31st. And so, like, it's crazy seeing Animal Crossing kind of rise among the ranks. And I'm curious, like, one, does it hit that number 1 spot? Seemingly, there's a big possibility that it will. And then also, like, how does that change the way that Nintendo then treats Animal Crossing going forward? Because I'm sure they looked at Animal Crossing as one of their biggest franchises, obviously, but now, like, legitimately, it is like one of their best-selling franchises on the Switch, which makes me think, like, whatever the future is for not even just Animal Crossing New Horizons, which we're going to see post-launch content for, right? They had that roadmap that they revealed a few weeks ago. I wonder now, like, whatever the next Animal Crossing is, like, what's it going to look like? Are they going to make spin-offs akin to what we see with Mario, right? Like, there's a billion Mario spin-offs. Of course, that's Mario.
With Animal Crossing on the Wii U.
Oh,
never forgot.
What was Animal Crossing on the Wii U?
The stupid board game that was like a shitty Mario Party. It was real bad.
Right. Do we see, like, I know for Zelda they had a Link's crossbow training. Do they have Animal Crossing? I don't know, man. Tom Nook teaches you taxes. Like, what does that look like in the future?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, when you look at this, it's like, all right, so these Pokemon Sword and Shield numbers are so ridiculously impressive for how long the game's been out, making it the 4th highest selling Pokemon title of all time, and Pokemon being a juggernaut of sales. I saw some projections that at the end of the day, Sword and Shield is probably going to be the 2nd Pokemon game, right behind Red and Blue. and yellow. Like that's pretty crazy to think about. Pokemon game selling that well these days even. And I feel like that's just a testament to the Switch. Mario for the Wii U, the Super Mario Brothers Wii U Deluxe, creeping into the number 10 slot on the highest selling Switch games. Like that's just Nintendo just making like money hand over fist on these ports and stuff. And it's interesting to see the Wii U side of the ports to the Switch kind of drying up. That well isn't that deep anymore. And it's going to be interesting seeing Nintendo, like we were talking about a couple days ago, like what the rest of their 2020 looks like. They can just keep cruising with these titles because the more high selling evergreen IP titles they have on the Switch, they're just going to keep these numbers going up. Like Smash Ultimate's still selling 1 million in the last couple months is ridiculously impressive. And if you start seeing that with Animal Crossing and Mario Kart and Mario for Wii U and all that stuff, it's like that's insane.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm not shocked, but it's like internally it surprises me that Super Mario Brothers or New Super Mario Brothers Wii U outsells Super Mario Maker 2, right? Like, isn't that like a weird thing? And I wonder what that kind of comes down to in terms of the mind of the consumer. Like, people just want to buy a Mario game and not want like the extra complex stuff with it, or like what is that?
I mean, 2D Mario sells. You know, it's like traditionally that's always been the case, and I feel like with the Switch we saw Mario Odyssey selling as well as it did, being kind of a surprise because 3D Mario titles sell great, but like usually not that great. I think the bigger surprise being Breath of the Wild. Right now the numbers are equal with Odyssey, and obviously so much of that has to do with the adoption rates when the Switch first came out and the 10 out of 10 reviews and all of that, but that's selling super well for a Zelda. But yeah, Mario Maker 2, I think that it is kind of a spinoff of the 2D Mario titles or Mario titles in general, and it's selling very well. But there's just there's something about 2D Mario games and the way that they get pushed that I don't think many things can rival.
Yeah. So with that being the case, do we then expect another 2D Mario game sometime soon? Right? Because like there was a certain point in time where I was like, certainly Super Mario Maker is going to replace New Super Mario Brothers, right? Certainly this is going to be the Mario going forward. But looking at the numbers, it seems like there's definitely money there in a traditional 2D Mario game over, and not saying that they have to make the choice at this point because they'll just put out both, right? They can make Mario Maker 3 for the next console, but it seems like there's no reason, there's no precedent for them to stop making original 2D Mario games.
Yeah, you know, it's been just kind of pulling this out of my ass, but it must be right. Like this is the longest we've went without a new 2D Mario game since the gap between Super Mario World and New Super Mario Brothers on the DS.
Mm-hmm.
And
that makes sense, yeah.
Like that's pretty crazy because that was a drought when you think about it back then. But yeah, you know, there's all those rumors of the Mario collections and all that stuff. Like there's definitely not a lack of Mario potential in titles. And at this point, Mario isn't just one thing. It is so many different things. And again, I'm not talking about spin-offs. I'm talking about like core Mario titles. Where I feel like the pillars now are there's Mario Maker, there's 3D in the style of Mario 64 and Odyssey and stuff. There's 3D in the sense of Mario 3D World and 3D Land. And then there's just the traditional 2D Mario games. So add on remasters to that, and all of a sudden it's like that's a lot of content that they can keep going back to and pulling from, on top of all these other franchises that we're talking about, like that are just these huge money makers. And like Luigi's Mansion 3 selling well. It's like that's awesome, man. I love seeing Nintendo get weird and kind of dive a little bit deeper than the things I just counted.
So do these numbers do anything for you in terms of what Nintendo's year is? Because I know we talked about previously how like this year has kind of a drought after Animal Crossing, right? And like if Animal Crossing is not your thing, then this year's kind of a wash. I saw Imran tweeted this morning the announced titles for fiscal year 2021 for Nintendo, right? And it's Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition coming May 29th, Animal Crossing with releasing continuous updates, Clubhouse games, right, coming out June 5th, and then you got the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansions in June and fall, and then that looks in the Fighters Pass for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like outside of that, there's not really any confirmed releases for 2021. Do you think do these numbers do anything for as far as like smoothing out like how we feel about that?
I mean, real talk, like these numbers and this image that you're referring to that Imran posted, that's from the same call, like reaffirms everything that I said a couple days ago, where it's just like, man, I personally am really disappointed and am bummed that I'm not getting new Nintendo games to play that I am very interested in. And there's no sign of me getting that anytime soon. And all of this backs that up because they're kicking ass. Like why change what's, working so well for them right now? And, just, I feel like when all said and done, 2020 is going to be a real off year for Nintendo for me. And that sucks.
I think for me, what it comes down to is like this year feels more down for me as a fan than like how I view Nintendo as a business. Cause like Animal Crossing, right, is a huge success, right? Like them releasing releasing like the Mario anniversary stuff probably late fall. That's gonna keep this year somewhat afloat, right? But as a fan who loves to play their games, overall this year feels kind of like it does feel like a wash. But it's hard for me to really like worry about how they're carrying themselves as a company.
I'm gonna be real honest, man. If I knew that the Mario titles were coming in summer, now I'd be singing a completely different tune. Like I feel like that would be enough for me to tide me over, where I'm like, okay, well at least there's this thing that I'm interested in playing coming soon. Where it's like Xenoblade Chronicles, like I'm gonna give it a shot. Like that's a game that I never really tried much when it first came out, and now it's like I'm familiar with Shulk a lot more because of Smash Brothers. So I'm like, all right. I was looking at the trailers. I'm like, this looks kind of cool, but like, I don't think it's actually going to stick with me, and like the Clubhouse games, that could be fun for a little bit and whatever. But
I mean,
it's like,
every time I see a gameplay trailer of Clubhouse games, I'm like, man, this looks kind of, I could probably get into this because it looks just like Wii Play mixed with a little bit of Wii Sports because they have like bowling and stuff in there too.
And that stuff's cool, but it's just like, and of course, Pokemon Sword and Shield and Smash Brothers, like, are you fucking kidding me? Yes, I want all that stuff, but I want that in addition to new titles, even ports of old titles. Like, I need more than just what we're looking at here, because again, it's like not everything's always going to speak to everyone. And I understand that I can come off sounding like a brat where it's like, well, I don't like this. It's like, cool, but every year that we've had the Switch, there's been at least
there's been multiple things to pick from, right? Like last year had Pokemon and Luigi's Mansion and Fire Emblem and Mario Maker, right? Like there's something for anyone. Astral Chain, right? Like if you're a Nintendo Switch fan, you have something to choose from. Even if like for me, I didn't get Luigi's Mansion 3 or Fire Emblem, but I still got Mario Maker 2 and Pokemon, right? And Astral Chain, right? And like that's the kind of choice I feel like you want if you're Nintendo and you do have a limited amount of games coming to your system, right? Whether that is because like third parties are focusing on other systems, or because like you as a first party you can only put out so many games. But you still want to make sure there's enough so that there is that choice. And yeah, right now it doesn't feel like you have that choice in terms of what you want to play as a Switch fan. Like you're probably playing games. You're either playing Animal Crossing or you're playing something that came out a year ago.
And dude, not to be a broken record, but it's like I am a Nintendo fanboy and a Nintendo history enthusiast. And I was there during the droughts of the N64 and the GameCube and then the Wii and then the Wii U. And it's like I'm starting to get these tinges where I'm just like, fuck, man, I don't like what I'm seeing here, because it reminds me of times that were really bad for long stretches of time where the releases were way too far apart from each other. And I feel it even more because the last 3 years have felt the exact opposite, where every month I had something to look forward to with a max of like a 3-month break. But even during the 3-month break, I knew what I was looking forward to. And I understand the world's in a different place right now, but it wasn't. And I went over this last time, but it's like we've known about these games for a very long time at this point, right? Like we could have heard about some stuff back in November or January or February or March before all of this started.
Well, Tim, that's Nintendo. Let's talk about Microsoft and what Xbox is up to. Story number 2. It's time for an Inside Xbox Roundup. That's right. We watched Inside Xbox. We reacted to it live. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to watch our live reactions and our post-show discussion, because I think we had very good conversations after the stream ended. Of course, it was me, you, Greg, Andy, and Snowbike Michael, as I like to call him.
I love that.
Tim, before we get into a recap of what we saw, boil down, what are your feelings and your reactions to it?
As we all know, Xbox really loves flops, and here was another one.
Wow, poetic. It's poetry, Tim Geddes.
Hey, real talk, it's like this, and seeing kind of the general reaction of people from this event on Twitter and stuff. It's kind of hard to put into words the emotions that I have towards this, where it's just like I feel like it's straight up is a disappointment, and it's like there's always this talk of expectation, and we should know what they're going to show going into this and all that stuff. And I just feel like for this being promoted as a first look at next gen gameplay, I just don't think that it was a smart call to kind of go with a more indie third party A to double A type game reveals when we're all kind of wanting to see these bigger titles. And I know that it's like, okay, cool, they might not be ready or this or that, but it's like, all right, then don't show us things like this.
Yeah. I feel kind of similarly, where I was very underwhelmed by it, but going into it, I kind of kept my expectations very low because all we really knew was Assassin's Creed. And, I think them announcing that Assassin's Creed was going to be there and saying that we're going to see third-party games on the next generation of consoles kind of set expectations a bit too high, because when you see Assassin's Creed associated with it, you're thinking, oh, okay, cool, there are going to be other announcements on the level of Assassin's Creed. Maybe we'll get Watch Dogs Legion. Maybe we'll get other AAA games. Maybe we'll get a Bethesda game or an EA game, which I guess we did get an EA game, being Madden 21, right? But nothing was really on the same scope and size of Assassin's Creed. And so, yeah, like there are quite a few games, and we'll get into them right now, right? There are quite a few games there that excited me, but like overall the stream felt like it was like, okay, why are we here? Why wasn't all this just in like your original or your big blowout event, right, where everything can kind of boost each other up a bit more?
Let me ask you a question, Bless. You just said that there was a couple games that excited you. Were there games that excited you, or were there games that you were interested in?
Games that I was interested in, for sure. Like, no, there was no game here where I was like, oh, fucking let's go, like No More Heroes 3, right? I didn't have like that kind of moment where there was a game that spoke directly to me. But yeah, like there are games I was very interested in, like Bright Memory Infinite looks dope. Scorn looks cool.
The Medium looks really interesting to me. I like that psychological horror type thing, and the same composer as Silent Hill. It's like that's hitting all the right notes for me of a game that I might really enjoy. But I just, being kind of like the first reveal of next gen gameplay, we saw very little gameplay in this entire presentation.
Yeah. That's another thing for me too, where like quite a few of the trailers were cinematic trailers, and it's like, all right, cool. Like, these aren't really doing it for me right now. Especially when I was looking forward to seeing like next gen gameplay. Let's get into some of the games that were shown off there, right? They start off with Bright Memory Infinite by Playism, which was the futuristic first person shooter looking game with some futuristic cars and first person driving. Looked pretty cool. They mentioned in the stream that it was created from the ground up by a single individual, which is like the craziest thing of that whole announcement.
Visually, I think that this was the most exciting and impressive looking game we saw today.
Yes. No, I agree. Like visually, like this was one of the games where it kind of balances on that line between interesting me, but also I'm excited for this game. Like I want to see what this game comes out and actually ends up being, because like if it's good, then I'll be really into this. We also got Dirt 5 from Codemasters, and it was confirmed that both Nolan North and Troy Baker are going to be in the game, which is an interesting one to say the least. Dirt 5. We also got Scorn from Ep Software, and that's coming to Xbox Game Pass, and that was like very much the horror looking game,
very alien looking.
Yeah, those
xenomorph style.
It looked like there was like an otherworldly doinker that was peeking out a bit. Which, watch that trailer; it's interesting. It's spelt Corvs, but I'm assuming it's pronounced Chorus. Rises.
Well, they said Chorus.
Like churches.
They said Chorus in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I missed them say it, so I was like reading it as Corvs. But yeah, Chorus Rises 1, similar to Traverses or Churches. That's going to be coming with smart delivery. That's the game that has like Star Fox gameplay, but like
it looked like Star Fox style. Meets Control, which is kind of interesting. It looked like it controls a bit floatier than I particularly like when it comes to like Starfighter combat stuff, but definitely one that like I want to keep my eye on.
We then got Madden 21, and that was confirmed for smart delivery. But then in an EA press release, there was some fine print that is very interesting that we'll have to look at right now. Right, Wario64 tweeted out this morning, right after the whole Inside Xbox thing, and after the dust had settled, there's some fine print in EA's press release, right, where they're talking about players can upgrade Madden NFL 21 from Xbox One to Xbox Series X at no cost. They go into talking about it, but then at the end of that, they say to receive the offer, players must purchase Madden NFL 21 on Xbox One by December 31st, 2020, and upgrade to Xbox Series X by March 31st, 2021. And this seems to be the first instance of a timed smart delivery game, right? A game where you can only get smart delivery from a certain time period, which is interesting. I got a question here from Robert Mimms, who writes in and says, not 20 minutes after the showcase for third-party Xbox Series X titles goes live, EA releases a statement saying that Madden 21 will only be available for smart delivery between certain dates. This entirely undercuts the point of smart delivery and is a terrible look for both EA and the smart delivery feature right out the gate. My question for you is, do you think this will become more commonplace for smart delivery from big publishers not wanting to lose out on potential revenue? Do you think it could be a licensing problem like Fran Mirabella mentioned on Twitter? Thanks, Robert.
I mean, I think it could be many things. I think it comes down to it's EA, and I also think that it is early in what this next gen looks like and how this all plays out. And I wouldn't be surprised if this changes. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays the same. Like, I feel that there's going to be a lot of struggle kind of getting the marketing down and understanding down of like what next gen and current gen look like. In terms of ownership of games and how this all goes. And at the end of the day, like Microsoft can talk about smart delivery all they want, but we're in a weird place right now where PlayStation hasn't officially announced their side of it. So until they do, I think there is going to be a lot of this murky understanding of how the third parties are going to handle it, because their hands are a little bit tied right now because they can't talk about it unilaterally.
Yeah, smart delivery is one of those things where I don't think we'll truly understand what the ramifications are going to be of it until we're actually there. Like until PlayStation reveals what they're doing on their side of things, right? Whether they're gonna have cross-buy or not. But then like once we're actually doing this in practice, right, and we're able to see like, all right, okay, so smart delivery is up for Madden NFL 21. Can I still play it backwards? Or I guess I'll play it backwards compatible, or like however that stuff kind of plays out. Because I know every time we have this conversation on the show, things kind of get murky. Because I think we all kind of understand what it is, but in practice, there's just like a lot of questions on how things are gonna fall.
I gotta be clear with you, Bless. I watched that episode of Games Daily of you and Greg, and y'all broke my brain where I'm like, how is this complicated?
No, it's and here's Tim. I've had about 10 people slide into my DMs, right? Talking about, you guys, it's simple, it's easy. This is what smart delivery is. Every single one of those people said something different.
Yeah.
Like in terms of how it works, right? There are certain people that are describing it as cross-buy. There are certain people that are describing it as you're just downloading the assets. It's just like Xbox One to Xbox One X, right? Like the thing that matters about smart delivery that I think we all understand, and this is really what it comes down to, right? You buy the game once, you have that game on your systems, on multiple systems, right? Yeah. You buy that game on Xbox One X, you're gonna have it on Series X. That's the thing that matters when it comes down to smart delivery, and you're getting the enhanced version.
Yes.
But yeah, in practice, right, I think that's where like a lot of questions come down to like, all right, how much is this EA thing going to matter, right? Like this is sucky press for both EA and smart delivery, because smart delivery was in the trailer, right? They had the smart delivery logo in the trailer, and so that then points to, okay, this isn't like the fact that you can have it confined to a window seems pretty weird. And I wonder, like to Robert's question here, right? Like, are we gonna see that quite a bit? I'm with you, Tim, that I think it is an EA thing. This is kind of a very historically like an EA move to limit a thing arbitrarily like this. And I don't know. This whole ordeal, I don't understand why they're doing it. I wonder if it is a licensing thing. I can't really speak to that. But yeah, it's a bad look. It's a bad look.
I think that it, like I said earlier, like I expect it to kind of be taken back, but I also think that it's one of those things that we need to learn more about how PlayStation's going to deal with it and all this stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it won't be until a year from now, when this is a bit more of the norm, that we're looking at it and we're seeing like, how does this actually affect gamers and consumers as they're buying their products? Like, is this actually negative news, or is it just something that, like, compared to everything else, seems really bad, which it does for sure. But is Madden a game that is annualized in the way that it is bought and played? I don't know if EA is just trying to like get ahead of it, being like, you're not getting the next game, you're not getting Madden 22 or whatever, which is stupid as hell. But you know, I can see that. But next year, I think this will all be a moot point.
We then got Vampire the Masquerade 2, which includes smart delivery. We got Call of the Sea coming from Raw Fury, which also supports smart delivery, and it's coming to Xbox Game Pass, which is pretty cool.
The Call of the Sea looked interesting.
It didn't really do much for me. It was one of those things where I was like, yeah, this looks like it could come out and be a good game, but like nothing about it really spoke to me specifically. Like it didn't stand out as unique per se.
Vampire Masquerade looked absolutely horrible. And I'm not saying that the game's not going to be good and that there's not people excited for it, because I know that there is. But for a game being shown off as one of 13 games showing off next gen gameplay, that looked very, very, very bad. And I thought that was a very bad call to have that in this showing.
Yeah, I've not seen gameplay of the original Vampire the Masquerade, and so I don't recall it having that art style, right? Like that kind of like cartoonish, like over the top kind of art style to it. And so like, yeah, upon seeing the gameplay trailer, I think we were saying like different games, right? Like, or at least in my mind, I was like, all right, is this Dead Island? Is this BioShock? Like, what is this? This looks weird. And also like, I feel like the trailer kind of came off as a bit framey. Like it didn't necessarily look great at all visually.
People in the chat are saying, what exactly made it look bad? It was like the character models. Like for something that's like showing off next gen, it's just like kind of disappointing that we're seeing characters that look that bad. The environments looked really great thanks to the ray tracing and thanks to all that other stuff. But I just feel like this trailer is a great example of where Xbox missed the mark on this showing, where it's like, explain to me what is going to make games look better about next gen. And showing this, I'm like, no, man, that ain't it, chief.
We also got the Ascent, which is supporting smart delivery. The Medium, which is announced for holiday 2020, which we were talking about earlier, right? That's coming to Xbox Game Pass. Has music by Akira Yamaoka of Silent Hill. It's a horror game made by Blooper Team, which they did Observer and Blair Witch. You play as Marianne, a medium, and you can see two different worlds, the real world and the spirit world. The game takes place in Krakow, Poland. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that one. And then they said that there will be no loading screens between switching worlds.
And we saw that in the trailer, and it looked super cool, where it kind of wiped, and we saw the world in front of her transform. This is the type of game that, like, I think this is the standout for me of this entire show, and I think that it has potential to be a original Hellblade style hit.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I think this is definitely a standout of the show for sure. Like, this is one of the ones where I was like, okay, cool. Like, this one is speaking to me in a way where I look at some of the other games and they kind of, I don't know, blend together for me. Scarlet Nexus was revealed, right? That's the anime looking game that I thought at first Code Vein, but then ended up looking like Astral Chain. Developed by Bandai Namco Studios, including a former Tales of dev. Second Extinction was announced, supporting smart delivery. Looked pretty cool. Looked like Turok, but not Turok. We got Yakuza Like a Dragon, which was announced for the launch slate, supporting smart delivery, and will be part of the Xbox Series X launch, and also coming to Xbox One and Windows 10. And then lastly, we got that Assassin's Creed Valhalla gameplay. With
the Yakuza thing, I mean, like that's a big deal. You know, like Xbox kind of committing to the Japanese side of games is, as Snowbike Mike was talking about in our Reacts video, it's like that's a big deal for the ecosystem of Xbox and the library of its games, because they've always struggled to have relevance in Japan. And I think that getting ahead of that, like from the start, is a very good look. So I think that's good news at the very least.
A couple of E3s ago, I want to say, it felt like they were really making a thing to come out and really support that market in that side of games, right? And like you've seen it also with Phantasy Star Online 2, right? That coming to Xbox. Like they've been doing a good job of really committing to having more Japanese games come to the platform.
And I mean, like, look, last year at it wasn't last year, but at that E3 press conference where they had Devil May Cry 5, like a very, very, very Japanese game being shown off. And then it was the XO event like last year where they did the whole like, and Final Fantasies, like pretty much all of them, and Kingdom Hearts, all of them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Yakuza is on Game Pass, right? Like they've been really taking ownership of bringing those games to the platform, and yeah, like it's moving forward, it's only going to do good for them, right? That's only going to bring more people over to Xbox, especially if you're including these games on Game Pass, which is going to go a long way into selling Game Pass for people who like otherwise would have looked at Game Pass and been like, all right, like these games are cool, but there's like, I'm a JRPG person, and I'm not saying JRPGs here, right? I'm saying more so like Doom and Halo and Master Chief Collection, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, like this is a dope move for them. In the same conversation as Yakuza Like a Dragon, Eamon in DC, or Eamon from DC writes in and says, "Hey KFGD hosts, it appears we may have our first look at Xbox Series X box art." And Kevin, I have a link in here that you're going to want to click and pull up. Amen shares a link and says, "The link above takes you to the Yakuza Like a Dragon website. After entering your age, select Xbox as your platform. You'll see the following image. As has been speculated, the top banner just reads Xbox with specific indications beneath indicating compatibility with Xbox One and Xbox Series X. There's also an optimized for Xbox Series X badge as well. While it may not be final, it seems to indicate for the streamlining of console branding we expected to see from Xbox this generation. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is the final iteration, or should we expect additional changes? Thanks, and have a great rest of your Thursday." Kevin, is it? Oh yeah, it looks like it's up. And so yeah, you have like the Xbox logo at the top, right? Just being the Xbox branding, and then under that you have Xbox Series X and Xbox One. Tim, do you have any thoughts on if this is probably going to be the official final design for the boxes? Or
I buy it. I think this is either 100% or 90% what it looks like at the end of the day. There might be little shifts of positioning and things, but this is what I expected for a while from their branding of making it an Xbox box, and then just the rest of the what series and what platform, blah blah blah, put that in smaller fine print.
Yeah, my only issue with the box is that the optimized for Series X logo is a bit too big. Like I think you gotta shorten that up, or not shorten it up, but make it a bit smaller.
I think that's just going to be an unfortunate thing of the next year of these games. They're going to have them, and we're just going to have to deal with it because that's important messaging they have to get across. And I feel like that makes the box look ugly, but they're not going to make it a sticker on the plastic. It's going to be on the box art.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate. But I mean, yeah, I think I'm with you that I think this is 90% of the way there, right? Like I think all the information as it's presented is going to be what is presented, but I could see them like maybe changing some of the visual presentation of it, maybe making it look sleeker, cleaner, or whatever they need to do with the final product. But yeah, I think this is pretty much what you're going to get, right? The Xbox logo at the top. Under that, you're going to see the platforms. If they do announce Xbox Series S or whatever the second platform might be during their, I guess, June event, like you'll see that added to boxes. And I wonder if that's also going to get like an optimized for Series S logo. Probably not, because Series X is the one they want to push as the powerful platform. But yeah, I think this is what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty okay with it, aside from like that big old Series X thing. Story number 3. Could Mass Effect Trilogy finally be coming to Sherif? This is from Sherif Saed of VG247, who writes, "It looks like EA's mysterious game this year is a Mass Effect remaster. This week, EA published a full year financials for its fiscal year 2020 and confirmed most of the games coming between now and March 2021. One such mystery is an unannounced project EA simply referred to as HD Game. The publisher didn't specifically say anything about the project, not even hinting that it could be a remaster/remake of an old game. It turns out, at least according to GamesBeat, the project is indeed a remaster. At the very end of the site's piece covering EA's release, journalist Jeff Grubb revealed that the HD project is a remaster of the entire Mass Effect trilogy, though he did not point out that it won't be out on Nintendo Switch, at least not at launch. It's obviously unclear if that'll take the form of 3 separate games or a single package, though Grubb's comment seems to suggest the latter. Nonetheless, the concept is exciting for many reasons. Tim, did you see this rumor start to make the rounds?
I did.
Like yesterday?
Yeah.
Do you have any takes on this? Do you think it's the case?
I mean, I think that it's inevitable that we get this trilogy at some point, in the same way that I think it's inevitable we get the Metroid Prime trilogy. and it's just kind of a matter of when.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. I'm surprised they haven't already done it. I feel like that would have been a slam dunk this last generation, especially because it's been like a down generation for Mass Effect, with Mass Effect Andromeda. But maybe the plan has been to like get some distance from Andromeda and then drop the trilogy as like a, hey everybody, let's get happy again for Mass Effect.
Totally.
Like that really could be the case. I got a question here from Demon King Oda, who writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can, and says, "What's up, Bless and Tim? According to an article on VentureBeat from Jeff Grubb, buried in data from a financial call is apparent confirmation that EA will be remastering the Mass Effect Trilogy this fiscal year. I've heard these rumors for years, but this seems more credible than usual. How likely do you think this is to be true? Finally, after all these years of us fans, super fans clamoring for it. Thanks as always for continuing to do what you do. Stay safe. We're in the end game now." And yeah, like we said, I think in terms of the likeliness of this rumor, or I guess this report from Jeff Grubb, like I never know how these things kind of come down to, right? So when it comes to one person, like a he said she said kind of thing. Jeff Grubb correctly predicted the last direct, like the direct mini, right? And like even when it seemed like it wasn't going to happen, everybody was doubting him. He kind of still stuck to his guns with it, and that ended up happening.
Yeah, man.
So he has a decent track record.
He's definitely the homie, and he, it's like he's been right about stuff. So it's just like, he's eagle-eyed when it comes to this type of thing. So I definitely, this is going to happen. It is just a matter of when.
Then our last story number 4, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is not the biggest game in the franchise. I'm pulling this from Joe Skrebels at IGN, made up name, who writes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be shorter and smaller than some other Assassin's Creed games to address criticism that Assassin's Creed Odyssey was somewhat bloated. The move was revealed by Ubisoft Middle East head of communications Malik Tafaha. You don't like it, Kevin? You don't like a smaller, more condensed Assassin's Creed game?
Dude, Assassin's Creed was fucking amazing. Like Odyssey, like the giant world that I've enjoyed so much. Oh my god, it's such a blast.
The move was revealed by Ubisoft Middle East head of communications Malik Tafaha on Twitter, and as translated by VG247 and confirmed by IGN. Quote, FYI, it won't be the longest or biggest game in the series. They address criticism on this one, end quote. While Odyssey's epic scale and 60-hour plus length were appreciated by many, there was mention of the amount of less meaningful content and long travel times between major moments. In our mostly glowing review, we did single that out for criticism. Quote, and this is IGN's review. Oftentimes, the payoff of a major character reveal was dulled because I had to spend 6 hours chasing my tail through half the Greek world to reach it, end quote. Kevin, so come back to us because I want to talk to you about this because you're the Assassin's Creed guy here.
Yeah, it's 120 hours in like 3 weeks. It was pretty cool.
Jesus. Is that what you want from an Assassin's Creed game? Like another 120-hour experience?
Fuck yeah, dude. It was honestly, like, it's funny. I understand their criticisms, but they're stupid and super wrong. Because you know what I mean? Just to be clear,
Kevin, I know.
Because it was so much fun to travel between stuff. It would take a long time. Eventually, you could you open up all little fast travel stuff. Yeah, but like often I chose to just travel because it was so much fun to be just running or riding your horse through the road and encountering something or someone. And suddenly there was this little story, and a lot of them were a lot of fun. Every time I had those moments, I enjoyed them. They weren't like bullshit moments where I was like, I don't want to do this thing. It was the opposite. I would land on an island and be excited to go and clear as many things as I could, just because the way all the missions were a blast. Yeah, that
makes sense. I know like size and scope and the ways that people receive size and scope kind of varies from game to game. And so like I know for a lot of people, The Witcher 3 being as big and condensed as it is, right? Like for a lot of people that felt like it was just too much. Like, it's kind of over the top in terms of how many side quests, you can have and you can do. But for me, I kind of like how that makes the world feel bigger in a lot of games. That's why I'm really excited for Cyberpunk. And that's why I really enjoyed like Breath of the Wild. Like at a certain point with Breath of the Wild, like I haven't 100% of the game because like I don't want to collect all those Korok seeds. That seems ridiculous. But I like the idea that it feels like there's infinite things to do in that game because it makes the world kind of feel bigger and feel endless in a way that's kind of cool to me.
But I kind of Spider-Man's like that too.
Spider-Man PS4.
There's just so many things to do that it always felt like there was a shit ton, right?
Spider-Man PS4, I feel like felt more contained in the way that I think we both actually platinumed Spider-Man PS4, and it felt like there was an endpoint at a certain point. It felt like there was an endpoint,
but what I'm saying is, like, as you were playing, I mean, it took a long time to do that, right? But I feel like, and I'm not saying that like all the things were equally valuable and worth it, because they definitely were not. But there was that feeling for a very long time of there's constantly new things happening, and like you can't get to your goal without being pulled in like the direction of 4 different things that you kind of want to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. I feel what you're saying there. Like I remember back in the day having like a similar feeling with Spider-Man 2 on PS2, right? Because that was like the first open world Spider-Man game where you can kind of go around the city and all that stuff, and it felt like you did feel like you're part of a huge city, and there are a lot of larger systems at play that were working around you, and you had like a limitless amount of like missions you can do, despite them always like repeating. But at the time, I was just like still like, wow, like limitless content.
Yeah,
there's something about that I feel like is cool, and I think works for a lot of gamers. But I think there's also a certain sect of gamers that aren't with that just want to like be able to complete a thing and don't like things feeling overwhelming, or to IGN's point, right? Like traveling between points feeling like it's filled with bloat. I know a lot of people had complaints about bloat with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like it's interesting to see different people kind of have different takes on these different things. Tim, I'm very curious to see how big or how small Assassin's Creed Valhalla's world is, but the release of that game is so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by, that's right, the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Out today, we got Void Bastards for PS4 and Switch, which I'm actually playing currently. We have Infinite Beyond the Mind for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. We have Spirit of the North for Switch and PC. 80s Overdrive for Switch. Cloud-Based Prime for Switch. That sounds like an Amazon service. The Bullet Time of Revenge for Switch.
The Bullet Time of Revenge. All right.
Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl is out for Switch and PC. Garrett Tory is out for Switch. Ghost Files Memory of a Crime is out for Switch. Monochrome World is out for Switch. Lonely Mountains Downhill is out for Switch. Slayin' 2 is out for Switch. Relic Hunter Zero Remix is out for Switch. I should have just said Switch at the beginning and just read these names. Fledgling Heroes is out for Switch. Tennis Club Story Switch. Pawn Quest Switch. And then Celestian Tales Realms Beyond is out today for PC. Drift 21 is out for PC. Swiper for PC. Idle Big Devil is out today for PC. And then in addition to the one-time GTA $500,000 gift throughout the month of May, double rewards are now available for players in all biker cell missions and clubhouse contracts, as well as Rockstar Transform races, which I might actually be taking part in, because that sounds like a good time. I love them Transform races. And then lastly, for out today, Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is out for Android, iOS, and Fire OS.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know those games came out Amazon. on iOS. New dates for you. Total War Warhammer 2, The Warden in the Paunch. DLC is coming May 21st. I have no idea what a paunch is. It sounds like I said something offensive. New DLC, Bloodstained. I guess new DLC for Bloodstained is out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, arriving on Nintendo Switch at the end of May / beginning of June. And the new DLC for Indivisible is out for is coming out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and arriving on Switch at the end of the month. Disintegration launches on June 16th, 2020. And then lastly, Those Who Remain is releasing digitally on May 28th for PS4, Xbox One, and Steam PC. Now it is time for reader mail. You can write into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can get the show ad-free. And speaking of ads, this episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily is brought to you by Manscaped. Flowers are blooming, the grass is growing, and it's time to mow your lawn. Thanks to our sponsor, Manscaped. You can trim the hedges below the belt safely and efficiently. I'm talking about ball trimmers. Manscaped is here to make sure your balls are smooth and smelling nice. After all, it's time for some spring cleaning. Tim, have you gotten to use Manscaped?
He went to the bathroom.
Oh, he did go to the bathroom. Obviously, he went to the bathroom to go use Manscaped. Tim is shaving right now, and let me tell you, he loves it. He loves it. He's coming back to the show cleaner than ever. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below the waist grooming. They have forever changed the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. Precision engineered tools for your family jewels. The Perfect Package 3.0 comes with the essential Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof, cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free. That if you can hear the flushing in the background, that's Tim finishing up his Manscaped routine. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. Inside the Perfect Package, you'll also find the Manscaped crop preserver and anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. It's starting to get hot outside, and this is crucial so your balls stop sticking to your leg. And as our treat, you'll find the Crop Reviver, which will keep your balls smelling fresh, just like spring flowers. Subscribe to the Perfect Package and get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer always stays hygienic and clean. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts: the Shed travel bag, that's $39 value add, and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs. This is the perfect package for your perfect package. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GAMES20 at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code GAMES20 at manscaped.com. Again, 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com, code GAMES20. It's spring cleaning, baby, and your balls will thank you.
Thank you, Bless.
Like we were talking about on the show just now during the ad read. You went to the bathroom just now to use your Manscaped. Did you enjoy it?
I did. Oh yeah, man. I am looking real fresh, real clean down there. That's how quick it is.
That's how quick it is, man. And that light will help you out, man. The shining light. That's a part of the Manscaped 3.0 that they added. Anthony Corbett writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, just like you can. It says, "Hey guys, with today's Inside Xbox's mediocre show, I was wondering, why have videos like this? It seems to me these types of shows just bring ill will more than anything else. I'm not a video game marketing person, but I feel like if you just had a hype video that was all the trailers, but follow them up with a single tweet, that would be better. That would be better than everyone getting hyped hyped a show like today." That's what they wrote. I also want to point out that if this was PlayStation, I would feel the same way. I think if you don't have any bangers, why do you do an event like this? What do you guys think? Timothy.
These are all excellent questions, man. And as somebody that is a super fan of production, a super fan of video games, a super fan of content, like I feel like it worked in some of those levels. I think the production of the event was great. I thought that the content was lacking. And I think that from a gaming perspective, this didn't get me much more excited, if at all more excited, for next gen. And I think that was its mission statement. And in that sense, it failed. I've been seeing a couple tweets. I think it was actually Cameron Kennedy who tweeted out this morning saying, like, we haven't had a great video game presentation in like a year. And, I'm struggling to say that he's wrong, right? I want to be a fanboy of all three of the big guys, right? I want to be a fanboy of Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft. I want to support them, and I want them to show me things that make me go, wow. And I feel like it's been a while since I felt that feeling, at least in this type of in a presentation where it is a bunch of announcements, right? And I feel like another tweet that, to reference his friend this morning, was tweeting about it, where this just kind of felt like games that they had that they could put together instead of games that they wanted to show. And that is, problematic when we're talking about things that are taking up time and marketing mindshare when it comes to this. Like, it's not that any of these things were horrible and that it's like, oh man, the Xbox fucking sucks, but none of it was like, oh man, the Xbox is incredibly rad.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And I think the point of we haven't had a great video game event, like it feels like in like a year, right? Like I think part of that comes with growing pains of trying to figure out like what the future is, right? Like Nintendo has something special with Direct, right? But even Nintendo, right? Like there's a certain limit they hit where it's like, all right, like we have a Nintendo Direct Mini because we just don't have much things to show, right? Like even they lately have been having like an off time in terms of how to show games, present games, and I think companies are just trying to figure it out, right? Like Inside Xbox historically has been more of a hey, these are presentations for our community. We're giving like a lot of inside baseball stuff. We're giving you updates on Sea of Thieves and Gears and games that are already on the platform, along with like, you know, some announcements, but like nothing that's really going to rock your socks off, right? Like we're not having a Cyberpunk reveal at Inside Xbox. I think this time around, this was an example of them trying to meet in the middle a bit and trying to have their cake and eat it too, where, you know, they did advertise this as new information, new announcements, you know, an update on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, new gameplay. And that's stuff that you would have in an Inside Xbox. But yeah, like if we're looking at Inside Xbox as a product, like this is a better one. Like this was like
100%
one of the best Inside X. I haven't watched all of them, but
I would say this is the best one.
Yeah, like this is the only one that I've watched, and I came away being like, yeah, like there were quite a few of those games that I'm gonna play, and like there's so many new games that I'm now aware of. Yeah,
it was the format more than anything. This was treated more like a modern press conference.
Yeah, but it also wasn't, which is why I think like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Where, you know, like the caliber of announcements felt very Inside Xbox. The way they presented it felt, you know, future looking because they want to set up the Xbox Series X. But when you try to kind of live in both worlds, you know, and have it be an Inside Xbox and have it be like wrap it up with like interviews with developers and also like, you know, show these games that aren't necessarily the most hypest of games, but are going to be exciting for niches of people, right? Like I think you then stretch yourself thin in a way where the broader audience just isn't going to be pleased coming out of it.
Being critical of these is always difficult to deal with because, you know, people kind of get really attached to certain things and, you know, get defensive about it. But like at the end of the day, what you just said about, you know, there's these games that are going to speak to certain people, that's true of every single video game ever, right? And at some point, these are not just made to hit niches, they need to hit on a different level. And I feel like when you look at Nintendo Directs or good PlayStation conferences that we've seen in the last couple of years, there is that thing of like, cool, there's going to be 12 games. 3 of them are going to speak to you in a way of major consequence. And if they don't, then I feel like that presentation didn't live up to standards and is disappointing. Like I have such high expectations of a Nintendo Direct because they have led me to believe what that looks like. So when there isn't a major reveal in one, it's a letdown because there's a cadence that they have set. But when there is one, it's really exciting. And it doesn't feel like just the expectation, right? And that's why when they do things like the Direct Mini or they try to have different branding, I respect that because at least it is trying to like set the expectations of, hey, don't at all expect there to be a major reveal. When we look at the PlayStation State of Play, is like I would not argue that any of them have been killer because they haven't been, but at least they had big things like Final Fantasy 7 and
Resident Evil,
Resident Evil 3 and things like that. It's like there are these moments that there's kind of an expectation there that if State of Play were to put out a new one and not even have that, it'd be like, well, that was a bummer. And I feel like this is kind of on that level because whatever your expectations were, I don't think anybody would deny that it would have been much more exciting had we seen one of the games we're talking about of a Bethesda game or a Capcom game or, you know, something that is a Warner Brothers game, right?
Yeah. I'm very curious when we actually get those announcements too, right? I wonder if it is like we're still at a place where they haven't opened the floodgates, right? Like we still haven't had the big PlayStation event and we still haven't had the big Xbox event, right? And I almost say big in quotes for Xboxes. I don't even think like even the June event, I don't know if it's going to be big. Like I feel like this monthly thing is going to be kind of where we're at. But yeah, like I wonder at what point do we get the announcements of, like, not saying Starfield is going to be revealed this year, but something like Starfield or the new Harry Potter game or the Batman game, you know, or like what Mass Effect Trilogy potentially, right? When are we going to get these types of announcements? And I think I think it's going to be June. Like I hope it's going to be June. Right, like I
just hate that we're in May. These things have started, and we're going to keep punting it. We're just going to keep on punting, man.
Yeah,
I fucking hope it's June. I hope it is. I hope the July show is the killer show of Xbox first parties that we've been waiting for. And like real talk, that doesn't need to be 1,000 announcements. It just needs to be a couple super high quality games with a couple promises in the future. Right? If July they come out and Halo Infinite is fantastic, and we get to see a little bit more of Hellblade, and they just make announcements of what some of the other teams are working on, that's really all they need to do. But at this point, and, you know, of course, there's also all the Corona stuff going on. So it's just like, I understand that everyone's plans are all up in the air, and like everything's changed and shifted anyways. But what we saw today did not instill me with faith that the next couple months are going to be filled with super hype press conferences. And I think it's just going to be a bit more of drip feed information of a lot of stuff coming out. And every once in a while, there'll be exciting moments like the Last of Us trailer we got yesterday.
Tim, now it's time to squad up. Alex Brown writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Just like you can, it says, most of my friends are on Xbox, so I don't have hardly any on PlayStation. I'm looking for fellow best friends to join me on Predator Hunting Grounds to have some fun and level up together in private matches. Also playing in private matches, this means we have a better chance at becoming Predator. Alex Brown's PSN username is alexjackbrown, all one word, alexjackbrown. And so if you want to squad up with Alex on some Predator, go for it. Add him, play with him, have a good time. Now it's time for kindoffunny.com/you're wrong, where you let us know what we get wrong as we get it wrong as we do the show, so we can correct it for people watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and podcast services around the globe. Let's see here. Lord Opone says Madden did not have the smart delivery logo in its trailer today.
It's a good note.
Did we say that it had the logo?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Kebab says there are 3 Animal Crossing spin-offs: Happy Home Designer for 3DS, Amiibo Festival for Wii U, both in 2015, and Pocket Camp on mobile. Most fans try to ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Grubb is saying Madden NFL 21 is not smart delivery. It's completely separate. It's EA's own upgrade path, which is very important.
It's more similar to last gen's kind of upgrade system that like Ubisoft had.
That then makes sense, and that makes it less of an indictment on Xbox's side of things, way more of an indictment on EA's side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nailbot just says, breaking: the Medium and the Ascent are confirmed as Xbox Series X and PC exclusives.
So that's actually a really big deal. I think
that Xbox Series X, does that mean not Xbox One?
Huh. I mean, that's an even bigger deal. If it's exclusive to the Series X, that'd be really cool. But either way, I feel like it being an Xbox exclusive is like, okay, cool. At least there was something of some real like Xbox consequence shown today.
Yeah. No,
and
for
that
sure.
also goes back to what I was saying of like I see potential of that kind of being a Hellblade style hit if it's good.
If it's good, yeah. Zaxxon Galaxian says Bright Memory is actually available on Steam right now, and if you get it now, you will get Bright Memory Infinite for free. Not sure if it's just an upgraded version or a sequel, but figured it might be good to know. That's very good to know, actually, because I might check that out because that game looks cool. And that's it for kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. Tomorrow's hosts are me and Greg, so stay tuned for that. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on twitch.tv/kind-of-funny-games. We run you the nerdy. I was gonna say find a cunny, and I was like, that's not what it is. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. We have a Patreon post show for those that are subbed at the silver level of patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. So stick around for that. Otherwise, until next time, Game Daily.